All been there, right? Stuck behind a slow driver in the left lane. But did you know that it's illegal in the state of Texas to drive on the left when you're not trying to pass someone? Our Michelle Pedraza tonight tells us about a new DPS effort to get that message out. Michelle.
Well, Mackenzie, it's a law that was first enforced back in 2013, but is often still ignored by drivers on our road, driving slowly in the left lane, which is only meant for passing. This law could be enforced on any highway, but especially state and U.S. highways where two lanes go in the same direction, like Highway 44 and 77. It requires drivers on multi-highways to only use the left lane for passing. The Department of Public Safety says drivers who don't follow it create a very dangerous situation for others on the road because it causes more congestion around them. They also add that this violation often leads to road rage incidents.
People are driving too slow, and then of course that can impede traffic, especially when you get, and I have seen that 6-7 cars back behind somebody going real slow, and then people are getting upset as well, and then they're trying to pass 3 or 4 vehicles at one time, which is unsafe.
The only time you can drive in the left lane on these highways is if you are passing, there's obstruction in the road, if there are more than 2 lanes, and lastly, if traffic is restricted. Now, if a driver is slowing down traffic, driving in the left lane, they could face a fine of up to $200 or more, and DPS adds that they will be making more contact with those drivers who do not follow this law, so definitely important to remember if you are out there on the road. For now, reporting live from SPID, Michelle Pedraza, 3 News.
Okay, Michelle, thank you.